Tonight on the South Today, an environmental activist is found guilty in Dunedin after an attempt to derail an oil industry conference. Another tertiary institution goes under the microscope as enrolment numbers plummet at Otago Polytech. And Dunedin Police have a set of fresh faces as 7 new recruits prepare to hit the local beat. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. A veteran anti-oil activist has been found guilty after an attempt to derail an industry conference in Queenstown almost 4 years ago.
Environmental activist Rosemary Penwarden has been appearing in the Dunedin District Court in a 3-day trial. The 64-year-old was charged with forgery and using a forged document after her actions prior to an international petroleum conference being held in Queenstown in September 2019. She admitted to creating a fake email address and using the letterhead and logos of private organisations to send out a phony postponement letter to all delegates.
"We apologise for the inconvenience," the email read. "We will endeavour to reimburse stakeholders for registrations, including flights to and from Queenstown where possible."
This afternoon, a jury found Penwarden guilty on both forgery charges after 3 hours of deliberation.
I totally respect the decision that was made by those jurors. They've sat through 3 days, 2.5 days. I respect the judge and the way it was all done.
Judge Michael Turner didn't enter a conviction, with Penwarden granted bail and her sentencing set down for September. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Police are investigating a 2-vehicle crash near Henley on Tuesday night, which left 2 young people seriously injured and 1 trapped in the boot of a car. Emergency services responded to reports of a car and a ute crashing into each other around 5:15 yesterday evening between Henley Berwick Road and the Waipori River Bridge. 2 young people were taken to Dunedin Hospital with serious injuries. One was suspected to have a spinal injury and the other a badly broken leg. 3 other people involved in the crash were treated at the scene. One of the occupants of the car had to be extricated from the boot. The road was closed to traffic for more than an hour last night, and police are appealing for further information from anyone who witnessed the crash. Otago University is facing another challenge with the news that Professor David Murdoch is stepping down as Vice-Chancellor. Professor Murdoch has been on sick leave since March, with Professor Helen Nicholson running the financially battered university in his absence. He's leaving as the institution grapples with a $60 million budget blowout and is departing just 18 months after being appointed. Professor Murdoch says he's fully recovered and is planning to return to the university's Christchurch campus, where he'll resume his work as a distinguished professor of infectious diseases. Otago Polytech is the latest tertiary institution under the microscope in the south after revealing plummeting enrolment numbers over the last year. Enrolments at Otago Polytech have dropped by almost 10% since June last year, with a major update around job security tomorrow. The educational institution has campuses around Otago, but is now part of the country's mega polytech, Te Pukenga, which is proposing a restructure. Otago Polytech says the drop in student numbers of 9.2% was forecast. However, on the flip side, international enrolments have risen by 60%. The proposed $2.7 million worth of cuts were announced last October, with financial decisions due in August. The country's longest-running cheese-making operation is closing its doors in Southland after more than a century of dairy production.
Southland is well known for producing excellent cheese over the years, but the production lines are finally closing at Fonterra's well-known cheese factory in Edendale. The facility has been operating for 140 years, producing up to 10,000 tonnes of cheese a year for domestic and international sale. The company says the cheese plant hadn't been operating since the end of last year, with the closure putting 34 workers in the firing line. Fonterra is now working closely with affected employees, with some exploring redeployment opportunities within the company. Locals are disappointed about the closure of the local factory, which has been a significant part of the region's history. While the closure marks the end of an era for cheese production in Southland, Fonterra insists it's committed to ensuring a strong dairy sector in New Zealand, with production continuing at its 9 other plants. In Edendale, the South Today.
The cause of a fire at a major sewage treatment plant in Christchurch has been confirmed. The City Council says it spent $23 million since the Bromley fire in late 2021, reconfiguring the waste plant and removing rotting material from the filters.
The cause of a fire that burned for almost 3 weeks at Christchurch's sewage treatment plant has been confirmed. A fire investigators report to the Christchurch City Council's Insurance Subcommittee found that the fire was caused by the ignition of flammable material on the roof. That was blamed on subcontractor staff using an unauthorised heat source during repair work. The November 2021 fire caused massive damage at the wastewater plant in Bromley, destroying around 60% of the plant's capacity to treat wastewater. Residents were left to deal with the combined odours from the damaged plant, along with a nearby council-run compost processing facility. Council Chief Executive Dawn Baxendale says the investigators' findings are consistent with a 2022 Fire and Emergency New Zealand report. She says the wastewater treatment plant was fully insured and the council is still working through insurance and legal proceedings. In Christchurch, the South Today.
7 new police recruits are set to be rolled out to the streets around Dunedin, including one officer from the other side of the world. New Zealand Police say keeping communities safe is the main aim, and recruiting keen officers is a key part of that.
The fresh faces of Dunedin's police force. These 7 new police recruits, 2 women and 5 men, are getting ready to patrol the streets of the city, having come into the jobs from all walks of life. 23-year-old Sol Gonzalez is originally from Argentina and has a very good reason for joining the force.
I come from South America and it's very dangerous there. Coming into New Zealand, being such a safe place, it made me want to keep it that way, and so it doesn't become what I have experienced.
New recruit Hayden Wingfield has come from a safer spot, having spent 17 years at a desk job. He says he wanted to make a difference in his local community.
It's a pretty special position in the police. We've got the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives every day.
The new recruits will now go through a 2-year probational period, but admit they have a steep learning curve ahead of them. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whā Yakane still to come on the South Today. A creative Dunedin duo discover their fern fever artwork will proudly feature on a new flag, and the Otago Nuggets basketball team make a case against foul play.
The ship's docked and John's got stock. He's taken 20% off bookcases and wall units, 23 off tall boys at bedsides. Corner and recliner suites are reduced by 27%. There's 35 off queen-size mattresses. And Indulgence plush California king beds are half price. You'll save a shipload this weekend.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street. And my mate John.
Here at Age Concern Otago, we offer a range of services to support Otago seniors to age well with dignity and independence. We provide social work support, visiting service, health promotion and social activities. Check out what we have on offer at ageconcernotago.com.
Drive away your way with 3 incredible offers on the Honda CR-V Adventure Ready range. Choose from 2.9% finance with 0 deposit, third finance, or lease a new CR-V from just $136 per week. These offers are only available for a limited time, so be in quick. From Honda.
You're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer. You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Aero, used by Australia's top bowlers with their unique Z-scoop grip that redefines the game. Machined with robotics for unparalleled accuracy, Aero, same line, every time.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. Two Dunedin schoolgirls were surprised to learn they won a flag design competition recently after being hand-picked by some of their sporting heroes. The group entered their designs at the Fern Fever event, aimed at helping encourage young women to get more involved in sport.
Passing down skills to the next generation and hoping to inspire more girls into playing football. A flag design competition was held at the Fern Fever event in Dunedin back in March, giving pupils the challenge of designing their own Swiss or New Zealand flag. The exercise was to mark one of the games being held in the city for the upcoming Women's FIFA World Cup and made for some serious competition.
Some of them were super speedy, others didn't necessarily want to move on to the next activity because they took it very seriously.
Millie from Balmacewen Intermediate and Victoria from Andersons Bay School were named as the winners, with Southern football representatives presenting them with their flags printed out, plus free tickets to the game. The two flags were hand-picked and signed by some of the football Fern players who hope to encourage the girls to continue on with the sport.
You see a lot of girls come to the programs and events that we run quite shy, quite standoffish, but at the end of it their confidence has grown and it's just awesome to see.
After receiving their awards, their classmates were taken outdoors for a skills session with the Southern football crew.
Whether it's for a year, whether it's for a month, we just want them to have some fun and get out and try to get some activity and maybe choose our game for the future.
The Fern Fever event aimed to encourage young girls to give sport a go in a safe and fun environment. Organisers say interest in women's sport is continuing to grow, with the FIFA Women's World Cup due to start later next month. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The Otago Nuggets basketball franchise has filed an incident report about what they called an act of foul play from a Wellington player during their last game. The Nuggets allege Saints power forward Tohi Smith-Milner struck Nuggets point guard Darcy Knox with his elbow during Otago's win last Friday night. They also claim Smith-Milner shoulder-charged Nuggets shooting guard Michael Harris while he was trying to get back to his feet. The league has reviewed the incidents, which took place in Wellington, but the findings haven't been made public. The Otago Nuggets currently sit third on the NBL ladder and face the Canterbury Rams in Dunedin tomorrow night. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Activist Rosemary Penwarden was found guilty of forgery for using a fake email to disrupt an oil industry conference. Otago Polytech could be in trouble, revealing some enrolment numbers dropped by almost 10% over the last year. And 7 new police recruits are getting ready to patrol Dunedin streets, saying they're working towards a safer community together. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome Associate Editor Mike Houlihan. Hello Mike.
Good evening, Hannah.
What can we expect in tomorrow's paper?
Well, we'll also have extensive coverage of the Penwarden case that you've just reported on. Also, we've got big coverage of the breaking news out of the University of Otago today that Vice-Chancellor David Murdoch has stepped down from his role.
Yeah, very big news. Okay, we look forward to reading that.
Indeed. Also, we've got another analysis of the teachers' strike and the ongoing effect it's having on children's education. We've got news of a dolphin fossil discovered in our vicinity, dating back 26 million years or so, and a scary looking beast it is too.
Okay.
And being Friday, we have our arts page, which this week has coverage of the Francis Hodgkins Fellow, Emily Hartley-Scudder, who's based out of University of Otago this year and working on 2 exhibitions.
Brilliant. We look forward to reading. Thank you for sharing, Mike.
Thank you.
Time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, northerly airflow will remain over the region for the rest of the week, including through the weekend, with milder temperatures for a change, creating mostly fine weather. Heading to the top of the South Island. Cloudy with northerlies up here tomorrow. 16 in Nelson, 14 over in Greymouth, and down to Christchurch, expect a clear 13 degrees with nor'easterlies. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago. Fine with nor'easterlies and patchy high clouds in the more southern towns through here, all with highs of 13 degrees for Ashburton, Timaru and Oamaru. Heading westwards to the Central Lakes, cloudy with northerlies and warmer temperatures than we've seen through here lately. Heading for 14 in Wanaka and Alexandra, 12 degrees for Queenstown. Heading further south, it'll be a cloudy day with light northerlies here tomorrow, up to 14 in Gore and Balclutha, then 13 degrees the high down in the Catlins. And across to Southland. High cloud tonight as it drops to 7 in Invercargill. Thick high cloud sticks around tomorrow too with northerlies and 15 as the top temperature. And Friday's looking very similar with the addition of a few spits of rain off the ranges at times and again a high of 15. And finally heading to Dunedin. Cloudy and breezy tonight with a low of 4. Tomorrow's a cloudy one too, with sun peeking through at times before some gusty nor'easterlies pick up in the afternoon. And all the cloud is mopped up before dinner, and the day's high will be 13. And into Friday, it's looking mostly fine and sunny with north to northeast winds with a warm high of 15 degrees. And that's the news this Wednesday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. You can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. And we're also on Facebook. Just search for the South Today NZ to see our favourite stories from around the regions. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ka kite o popo.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.